You cannot solve a problem with the same thinking that created it. And this is something that struck me, right? It's something that Einstein said a long time ago. And I think it's true in this day and age for so many facets of life, whether it be big pharma, whether it be the food industry, whether it be your individual personal relationships, whether it be how you decide to portray yourself and go about this life in this world and discover yourself. A lot of problems are created, right? And we try to implement exactly the same way of thinking to solve these problems. And this does not work. If anything, it just perpetuates the loop of trauma or the loop of problem creation that will continue to occur. So, Zac, I want to ask you a question. Where do you see something like this occurring? Where have you seen a problem that has been created and the same thinking being used to fix that problem?
Relationships.
Tell me more.
So essentially, a lot of people get into relationships, and the process of how that relationship starts to the process of how it ends up becoming a continuous vicious cycle. Same person gets with a different person each time, and the same pattern happens. And they never identify the problem that they have in the relationship to begin with, so they keep ending up in the same situation. And this was something I went through, especially in my 20s. And as soon as I identified the problem, which took a while, by the way, because you had to go through a lot of shit to realize there was a problem to begin with, that's when you start making amends. But unfortunately, a lot of people are running this unconsciously. And it comes from a place of trauma. It comes from a place of misunderstanding of self. And it also comes from a place of believing that if you do the same, it's like you can't expect to achieve a better result or a new result if you do the same thing. You can't expect a different result, right? So this is where I see the issue, and I see the issue constantly in relationships, and people do not mature because of it. They have the same level of thinking in one relationship, they go to another relationship, and that same thinking still exists, even though the person may be different.
Yeah, and I've seen the exact same pattern played out in myself in my younger days, and I try to be very conscious about it, right? I try to be very much aware of the pitfalls in myself, in the relationship, and I try to come to a deep understanding of how these can be rectified. And it normally comes from a place of self-love, of loving yourself, the darkest parts of yourself, the uncomfortable parts of yourself, the guilty, shameful parts of yourself. This is where I see most of the profound work being completed, because we go through the world and we are conditioned and we pick up on lots of different ways of behaving from our friends, our families, and we get socialized through the collective and in the micro collective as well. And we pick up all these characteristics in life, and they start molding and shaping our behaviors. And what we can normally see in some of the most as children, when we see in people that are around us, like our parents, our aunties, our uncles, our grandparents, what we see in their relationships is normally how we contextualize relationships when we're older. And the same patterns, whether it be running away from problems, yelling at each other and not solving problems, or physical abuse, or completely locking down and closing in and going within and not mentioning those things that make us uncomfortable. Not bringing it to the surface. Not bringing things to the surface.
And that's what needs to happen. These things need to be brought to the surface, because otherwise the problem is always going to exist. And one thing I learned was that, especially coming into my mid-20s, that there were problems that I was even conscious of that I did not address, because I thought, well, there's a way you can maneuver around it, But it's not true, because at the end of the day, we have the elephant in the room. The problem's always there. You're trying to go into a different context, different setting to be able to detract yourself from the problem, but it never removes the elephant in the room. You can't unsee the problem. Until you directly address it, get to the root of it, and create a remedy which is going to be more wholesome, going to be a better long-term solution, maybe even a short-term. Short-term fixes are only band-aid solutions when it comes to relationships, in my opinion.
Normally a deep level of acceptance is something that Like you can never get inherently, like when people conceptualize getting over a problem, right? You never completely, the problem will never leave you, right? It's always going to be a problem, but you come to deep acceptance and you know how to navigate when that problem does occur, and you know where it's truly stemming from, right? So if anything, it's something that you've looked at in detail, you understand where it comes from, and you integrate it back into yourself. It's not something that you capture like a Pokemon and you destroy it and it's gone forever in the ether. It doesn't work like that. We are machines in which that these potential problems or situations, which no longer become problems anymore, they become part of your internal psyche, which you have integrated, which you have deep love and acceptance for. So when the problem or when the feeling comes up that this is something that is not right, or I'm with this person and this feeling has come up, or this emotion has come up and I'm being triggered, and this is what happened in my past relationship, and this is where I'm going to end it, and I'm going to leave because this is what does not feel right, and I know where this leads. When that feeling comes up, one, that's a feeling, right? Two, it's something that you haven't understood and integrated back into yourself. Where is it coming from? Where is it stemming from? Is it you? Which it probably is, because you're just essentially reflecting or projecting what you feel.
Well, you're the
back
vessel
out.
of it. You're the vessel
of it. You're encapsulating the consciousness, right?
You're the vessel of it.
So it's really important to understand where these deep-seated things do stem from. And when you come to a deep realization of where they stem from, you integrate it back into yourself. You don't necessarily destroy it and discard it. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I did get rid of some of my Pokemon games. I kind of do regret that. I had quite a lot of Pokemon. I had like Game Shark too. So you make me feel bad when you say that. I got my Pokemon cards, guys. If there are any buyers out there,
he's trying to sell his Pokemon.
They're shooting up. But look, just back to what we're saying. Really, it is a matter of being able to address the problem. Once you identify it. First thing is a step of identification, right? The second thing is working out, well, where did the problem come from? Once you've identified it, where did it come from? What was the root cause of it? And then the third thing is, okay, well, now that we've identified the problem, found where it's come from, how are we going to develop a solution? Is it going to be a short-term solution, a Band-Aid solution? Or is it going to be a long-term solution so that we can get ourselves in a better situation? So let's say whenever we want to end up, being in a relationship again, and when we want to pursue a new life, have the existing problems from the old life been discarded, right? And they've been understood. And the other thing is, there was a quote from the Bible: "You should not put old wineskins in the new," right? And that's the thing. It's about shedding skin. It's about shedding the skin of the old problems. You're still recognizing that it was a problem before, right? Sure, people have had vices and habits they've broken, and they need to be aware of that because they don't want that to happen again. But you're shedding that. You become aware of it. You're conscious of it, and you're moving forward into the new life.
Yeah, very. I like the wineskin analogy, and it holds very true, because you may be able to change the external environment. Like, for example, you may be able to change location. You may be able to change. I
tried to do that many times.
Yeah, you may be able to change location. You may try to change partner. You may try to change family, friends, all these things, right? You may jump around from group to group, partner to partner, location to location, thinking that the change in the external environment is going to change whatever feeling you have associated with it. But guess what? Over time, and it could be a very short amount of time, it could be weeks, months, maybe a year. If you're lucky, those feelings are going to come up again, because these feelings come from a deep-seated internal space. And when we rectify them, when we accept them, and we give love to them, deepest parts of love to those parts that are hurting and have been shamed or guilted or repressed and not understood and not been brought into the light, something that's been hiding in the corner that is causing you pain, but you keep pushing it under the rug. When you bring it into the light and accept it, that is when you can go to all these places and have beautiful relationships and feel deeply connected, and your intuition will guide you to the next phase, the next step. But you need to be able to read and understand your level of intuition, which is something that me and Zac practice a lot of, connecting deeply with our intuition. Is this serving me right now? Is this what I need? Is this something that my body, my emotions, my psyche, my spiritual nature, is this something that it needs? If it's not, I tell all my clients, don't do it. But there's a process to understanding that. And I think that takes time.
And that's a beautiful way to end, because, at the end of the day, we said life's dualistic, so we're all going to have problems come up here and there, but it's important to identify, to find the root, and then to develop a remedy. And it's been really good speaking about this topic, because it's a topic that I'm sure will hit home for a lot of you out there. And we hope that you guys can take this message and apply it to some of the things that may be going on in your life, and be able to develop some great wholesome solution.
Yeah, definitely. And when we say it hit home for you guys, we also mean it also hits home for us, because this is a constant process. And having this conversation is also a good reminder for us. When these things come up, we remind ourselves this is how we need to approach them. So thanks, Zac.
Thanks so much, Tim, and we'll see you on the next one.